The night had always been peaceful in human space. Ships moved from world to world, stations floated quietly, and the stars looked calm and safe. But one evening everything changed. Something strange happened, something no human had ever seen before. It began with a soft signal. Not a voice. Not a message. Not a sound from any radio. It felt like a whisper made of heat. The deep space telescopes in the Orion Observatory were the first to detect it. The signal came from the far edge of the galaxy, from a region known as the Ember Rift, a place filled with red stars, dying suns, and burning gas clouds. Nothing living should be there. No ship should survive that kind of fire. But the whisper came from there. Dr. Ilara Venn was the first human to hear it. She was a calm scientist, always serious, always focused. She had been studying star signals for 20 years, but nothing had ever surprised her, until now. She stood in the dark room looking at the glowing screen. Her fingers moved slowly over the controls as she listened again and again. The whisper was soft, like burning air passing through a crack in a wall. But there was a pattern in it, like a heartbeat made of flames. Ilara whispered to herself. This is alive. Someone is calling. Her voice trembled slightly. She was not someone who feared easily, but this signal felt different. It felt ancient, angry, and powerful. Within minutes, news of the signal spread to military command, to research stations, and to every major shipyard. People across the colonies talked about a whisper coming from the stars. No one understood it. Some said it was a warning. Some said it was a cry for help. Some said it was a trap. But everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy had woken up. The Human Council meets. The Human Galactic Council called for an emergency meeting. The Great Hall was filled with leaders. Generals in strong uniforms, scientists with glowing tablets, diplomats with worried faces. The whisper played softly in the background, filling the room with a strange heat. The temperature in the hall even rose slightly, which made many uncomfortable. General Rourke, a tall man with a firm voice, was the first to speak. We have survived wars, invasions, and battles. If there is a new threat, humanity will face it. Others were not so confident. Counselor Mira shook her head. We do not know what this is. It may be dangerous beyond anything we have seen. Dr. Ilara Venn stepped forward. She held a small device that displayed the burning signal. It is not random, she explained calmly. This whisper is communication. Something intelligent is speaking. Something made of fire. The entire hall fell silent. A race made of fire? A species living inside heat where normal life could not survive? Many could not believe it. General Rourke looked at the display with narrowed eyes. If they are calling us, he said, then we must answer. Humans do not hide from the unknown. A quiet approval spread through the room. Despite their fear, humanity had never run away from danger. Courage was in their nature. And now they would need that courage more than ever. The mission begins. The Council selected one ship for the journey, the Horizon's Flame, a strong exploration vessel with the best technology humanity had. Its captain, Alex Rowan, was known for staying calm in impossible situations. He stood at the front of the ship as his crew prepared to launch. The whisper echoed faintly inside the ship, as if it had followed them. Some crew members felt the walls become warm when the signal played. Others felt a strange pressure in their chests, like someone was watching them. But Captain Rowan was fearless. As he listened to the burning whisper, he said quietly, "If fire creatures are waiting for us, we will walk into their flames without fear." His voice carried strength, and his crew felt courage rise inside them. Dr. Venn joined the mission. She believed she had to face whatever was sending the signal. She felt a strange connection to it, as if the whisper was speaking directly to her. The engines of Horizon's Flame powered up. Blue light filled the hangar. The ship rose slowly, then shot forward into the dark space, leaving Earth far behind. The stars stretched into long lines as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. The first signs of danger. Hours passed. The whisper grew louder. The ship's temperature rose by 2 degrees, even though the systems were working perfectly. Chief Engineer Nolan frowned. "The ship is heating up from the inside," he reported. "It feels like something is burning nearby, something we cannot see." Dr. Venn checked the sensors. The signal was no longer coming from far away. It was coming from all directions. Like the fire whisper had surrounded the ship. Captain Rowan stood up straight. "Something is watching us," he said. "Whatever sent that whisper knows we are here." The crew felt nervous. Some touched their weapons. Others whispered prayers. But they kept moving forward. Because humanity had made a choice. They would face the creatures of fire. They would step inside their burning world. They would not turn back. And as the horizon's flame approached the ember rift, the stars around them changed color, becoming red, orange, and bright gold, like a sky made of fire. The whisper grew into a strong pulse. The first encounter was coming. Something ancient and powerful was waiting for humanity in the flames. The horizon's flame moved closer to the ember rift, the most dangerous region known to humans. Outside the ship, space looked alive. Huge clouds of burning gas floated like red storms. Broken stars glowed like dying hearts. The rift did not look empty. It looked like a place where something powerful breathed. Inside the ship, the whisper had changed. It was no longer soft. It pulsed through the walls, like a heartbeat made of fire. Thump, thump, thump. Slow. Heavy. Angry. Some of the younger crew members grew pale. Others stood silently, pretending not to be afraid. But every person felt the same thing. They were getting closer to whatever was calling them. Captain Alex Rowan stood at the bridge window with his hands behind his back. He had seen many strange things in his life, but nothing like this. The fire clouds outside the window moved like waves. He could almost believe they were alive. Dr. Ilara Venn stood beside him, holding her tablet. Her eyes were fixed on the glowing signal. "It's stronger," she whispered. "It wants us to enter the rift." Captain Rowan nodded. "Then we go in," he said calmly. Humans stepped forward. The crew exchanged nervous looks, but they followed the captain's command. This ship was humanity's answer to an unknown enemy, and no one wanted to be the first to show fear. The rift opens. As the ship moved deeper, the fire clouds began to twist. They shaped themselves into a wide circle, a doorway made of burning gas just large enough for the horizon's flame to pass through. Everyone on the bridge froze. Chief Engineer Nolan whispered, That wasn't natural." And it wasn't. The rift was opening for them. Like something inside wanted them to enter. Captain Rowan narrowed his eyes. "Forward," he ordered. "Slow speed." The ship crossed the fiery doorway. The moment they passed through, the whisper stopped. Complete silence filled the ship. The sudden quiet felt heavier than the whisper itself. Then, the lights flickered. The temperature inside the ship rose again, 3 degrees, then 4. Warning panels flashed red. Nolan rushed to his station. "Captain, heat levels increasing. Something is warming the ship from the outside." "But there is no flame outside," Dr. Venn said. "No source. Nothing touching us." Captain Rowan replied quietly. "Something is watching us." The shape in the flames. The ship moved through a tunnel of burning gas. The fire around them shifted, flowed, and changed shapes like it was alive. Then suddenly the flames gathered into a single point. A shape formed ahead of them. A large one. At first it was only a bright silhouette. But slowly lines appeared, sharp, tall, terrifying. It looked like a living creature made of fire. Arms formed. A head formed. A long tail of flames flowed behind it. It stood as tall as a battle cruiser. Yet it did not attack. It simply floated in the fire, staring at the ship with burning white eyes. The crew froze. No one breathed. No one moved. Captain Rowan felt sweat on his palms. For the first time he understood why the galaxy was afraid of the Ember Rift. This creature was not a rumor. It was real. And it was ancient. Dr. Venn stepped forward slowly. "It's communicating," she whispered. "Look." The creature raised one arm. Flames swirled around it, forming symbols in the burning clouds. Not letters. Not words. But patterns. Patterns identical to the whisper signal. "It's the same rhythm," Dr. Venn said. "It was calling us." The creature of fire gave a slow bow, like a greeting. Then suddenly, the ship shook violently. The attack. A different fire shape appeared on the left side, a darker one with sharp flames and burning spikes all over its body. Then another appeared. And another. 3 hostile creatures approached fast, their flames bright with rage. They moved like predators ready to strike. The first creature, the large one, turned sharply and made a loud, thunder-like roar. The sound vibrated through space, through the ship, through the crew's bones. 2 things became clear instantly. The first creature was not the enemy. It was protecting them. But the 3 newcomers did not care. They charged toward the horizon's flame. Captain Rowan reacted instantly. Shields up. Evasive pattern gamma. The ship swung right as a burning projectile passed through the space they had been in a moment earlier. The fire projectile didn't explode, it melted. Like liquid flame. Nolan shouted. "Shields at 70%. Fire is sticking to us." Dr. Venn's voice shook. "These creatures can burn through space energy. If they touch us directly, we will melt." Another fiery blast hit the shields. Sparks exploded across the bridge. The ship groaned under the pressure. Captain Rowan gritted his teeth. We didn't come here to die. Fight back. The weapons team fired plasma beams, but the fire creatures absorbed them like water into sand. Plasma ineffective, shouted the gunner. The creatures closed in. The guard of fire. Just as one of the hostile creatures reached the hull, flames exploded beside the ship. The first creature, the peaceful one, attacked. It moved like a burning storm, grabbing the enemy creature by its neck and smashing it into the fire clouds. The impact sent a shockwave across the rift. Another enemy creature lunged. The guardian creature released a wave of golden fire that tore it apart in seconds. Only one enemy remained. It floated back, scared, then vanished into the clouds. The guardian turned slowly and looked at the humans again. Captain Rowan lowered his weapon. Dr. Venn whispered, "It saved us. It wants to talk." The guardian raised its arm again. This time the flame patterns were slower, softer, more peaceful. A message. A warning. A request. But before Dr. Venn could translate, the guardian pointed forward, toward a deeper part of the rift. A place darker than the rest. A place where the flames themselves seemed afraid to go. Captain Rowan felt a chill. Whatever is inside there, he said, is the real problem. Dr. Venn nodded. The fire creatures are not the danger, she whispered. They are running from something much worse. The guardian extended its arm again. A path of golden fire opened, leading deeper into the darkness. The ship had been invited. Or pushed. But humans did not turn away. Captain Rowan gave the order. Move forward. We go into the heart of the rift. The horizon's flame followed the golden fire path created by the guardian creature. The deeper they moved into the ember rift, the darker everything became. The red and orange clouds of burning gas faded behind them, replaced by thick black smoke that floated like shadows. The stars disappeared. Even the fire around them seemed scared to shine. Inside the ship, the crew watched silently. No one dared to speak. The whisper had returned, but it was different now. It was weak, slow, like the voice of something dying. Dr. Ilara Venn studied her tablet, her eyebrows pulling together in worry. The signal is changing, she said softly. It is no longer a whisper. It is crying. Captain Rowan looked at her. Crying? She nodded. It feels like a distress call. Something inside the rift is calling for help. The captain did not answer. He kept his eyes forward, watching the black smoke swirl outside the window like living shadows. Behind them, the guardian creature followed at a distance. Its golden fire still burned bright, but its body flickered sometimes, like a candle struggling in heavy wind. Even it seemed afraid to go deeper. A door of darkness. After several minutes, the golden fire path ended. In front of the ship was a huge black wall of smoke, shaped perfectly round, like a doorway made of darkness. Nothing inside it moved. No light escaped from it. It looked like a hole ripped out of space. Nolan whispered nervously. That is not natural. Smoke does not stand still like that. Dr. Venn felt her skin grow cold. It's not smoke, she said softly. It's a barrier. Something is blocking the fire creatures. Something is trapping them. Captain Rowan stood tall. Then we go through. The crew hesitated for only a moment. Their captain had never led them wrong. And humanity did not run from the unknown. The horizon's flame moved slowly toward the black barrier. When the ship touched it, the darkness rippled like liquid. A strange sound echoed inside the hull, like a deep breath being inhaled. Then everything turned black. Inside the void, there was no light, no fire, no stars. The ship floated through complete emptiness. Even the screens on the bridge flickered as if space itself was eating the light. Nolan tapped his console with shaking hands. Captain, sensors are dead. Radar is dead. Temperature scanners are dead. Captain Rowan remained calm. What about life support? Still working. For now. Dr. Venn watched the blackness outside. This is not natural space, she whispered. It feels like something is hiding here. Rowan nodded. Or something is imprisoned here. Then suddenly, the whisper returned. But this time it was loud. Sure. Faint. Like millions of voices crying at once. The crew covered their ears. Some fell to their knees. Dr. Venn grabbed her head. It's not noise, she cried. It's emotion. Something is suffering. The captain placed a hand on her shoulder. Hold on, doctor. Translate it. She breathed slowly, forcing herself to focus. The whisper's rhythm came in waves, fast, slow, fast again. Painful. Desperate. Her eyes widened. It's a message, she said. A warning. Rowan leaned forward. What warning? Dr. Venn swallowed hard. It says, the Devourer has awakened. The Devourer. Before the captain could respond, the blackness ahead of them started to move. Slowly. Heavy. Like something massive was waking up after a long sleep. The darkness twisted, pulling itself into shape. Two enormous glowing cracks opened, eyes made of cold light. The ship's lights flickered violently. Alarm screamed. Nolan shouted. Captain. Something is draining our power. The horizon's flame shook as if something huge had passed beneath it. Dr. Venn stared out the window, her face pale. That is not a creature made of fire, she whispered. That is something that eats fire. The guardian creature appeared behind them, its golden flames burning bright again. It rushed forward, placing itself between the ship and the massive shadow. Then the shadow opened its mouth. Not a mouth of fire. Not a mouth of flesh. A mouth of pure darkness, like a hole that swallowed everything. The guardian creature roared, its flames exploding in bright gold. It attacked the shadow with everything it had, throwing waves of fire, burning light, and blazing spears of heat. But the shadow simply absorbed it. The golden flames vanished into its mouth like drops of water falling into a bottomless pit. The shadow grew larger. Hungrier. Dr. Venn's voice shook. That is the Devourer. The sacrifice. The guardian creature turned toward the ship, its white eyes burning bright with urgency. It pointed downward, toward a tiny glowing sphere hidden beneath the darkness. Dr. Venn gasped. The sphere. It's the source of the signal. The whisper comes from there. Captain Rowan understood instantly. The fire creatures trapped the Devourer here, he said. And they sent the signal to warn the galaxy. Dr. Venn nodded. They needed help. The Devourer is waking up again. The guardian creature roared one last time. Its flames ignited, turning brighter than ever. Its body began to glow like a star about to explode. Dr. Venn cried out. It's going to sacrifice itself. The guardian hurled itself at the Devourer, smashing into the creature's head. Golden fire exploded everywhere, pushing the darkness back for a few seconds. Just enough time. Captain? Nolan shouted. If we hit the sphere with our energy core, we can relock the barrier. But the ship will survive, Nolan said, his voice firm. Trust me, Captain. Captain Rowan did not hesitate. Forward. Maximum speed. The horizon's flame shot downward toward the glowing sphere. The Devourer roared behind them, swallowing the guardian creature completely. Golden fire vanished. The shadow lunged toward the humans. But they were faster. Captain Rowan shouted. Detonate the energy pulse. Nolan slammed the control. A massive shockwave burst from the ship, hitting the glowing sphere. And the whole rift exploded with golden light. The Devourer screamed. The barrier slammed shut. The whisper stopped. And the ship was thrown into darkness. Everything was silent. Not the normal silence of space. Not the peaceful calm after a battle. This was a silence that felt wrong. Heavy. Empty. Like the universe had stopped breathing. The horizon's flame drifted inside the dark void, its lights flickering weakly. Sparks danced across the floor of the bridge. Smoke curled from the broken panels. The crew lay motionless, thrown from their stations by the blast. For a long moment nothing moved. Then a cough. Nolan pushed himself up slowly, holding his side. He winced from the pain but forced himself to stand. Captain? Anyone? His voice echoed across the bridge. Captain Alex Rowan was the next to wake. He opened his eyes with effort, his head ringing. The memory of the explosion hit him all at once. The guardian creature, the Devourer, the golden light. He leaned on his console and stood straight. Status, he said, even though he knew no one was ready to answer. Dr. Ilara Venn rose from the floor, rubbing her forehead. A small cut dripped blood down her cheek, but her mind was alert. I'm here, she said. Most of us are still alive. Around them, other crew members began to stir, coughing and groaning but alive. The captain sighed with relief. Check the systems. Nolan, power status. Nolan ran to his console, tapping keys as fast as his injured hands allowed. Power core at 12%, he said. We can't move far. Shields at 5%. Weapons offline. Navigation, not responding. Dr. Venn checked her tablet. And the whisper signal? She paused. Then she swallowed. It's gone. The crew exchanged looks. Some felt relief. Others felt fear. The whisper had stopped. Was the devourer truly sealed? Or did something worse happen? Captain Rowan faced the window. Outside was still darkness, heavy and endless. But the black barrier that once moved like a living wall was gone. This darkness was ordinary space. The ship had been thrown out of the void. "Where are we?" Rowan asked. Nolan shook his head. "I have no idea. The star maps won't load. We might be far from human space, or in another part of the rift." Dr. Venn looked uneasy. "We need to find the sphere again. If the devourer is not sealed properly." A sudden tremor shook the ship. Everyone froze. Nolan stared at his console in shock. "Captain, something is behind us." Something returns. Slowly, carefully, the horizon's flame turned its damaged rear cameras on. Static filled the screen at first. Then a shape appeared. A small flicker. A tiny spark of golden fire. Dr. Venn gasped. "It's the Guardian." The golden spark grew brighter, shaping itself into the familiar form of the fire creature. Its body was dimmer than before, its flames weaker, but it was alive. Some crew members cheered. Others cried in relief. Captain Rowan allowed himself a small smile. It survived its sacrifice. The Guardian floated closer to the ship, its flames flickering gently as if greeting them. Then it raised its arm, and a bright golden symbol appeared in the air. A message. Dr. Venn studied the symbol. "It says, 'Follow.'" Rowan nodded. "Then we follow." "Captain," Nolan said quietly, "we barely have power. If this is a trap." Rowan looked at him. "We owe that creature our lives. We follow." Nolan didn't argue. He simply nodded and began stabilizing what little power remained. The Guardian moved ahead, creating a narrow path of soft golden fire. The ship followed slowly, drifting through the dark. Minutes passed. Then the darkness began to break. A faint glow appeared ahead. Soft, warm, alive. It grew brighter until the horizon's flame entered a massive chamber of burning clouds, like a hidden world inside the rift. Dozens of fire creatures floated there. Some had long tails of flame. Some were shaped like serpents made of heat. Others resembled giants of pure fire. They all turned toward the humans. The crew went silent. Rowan whispered, "We found their home. The Council of Fire." The Guardian led the ship into the center of the chamber. The other fire creatures circled around it and raised their arms. Flames rose like waves, creating a giant spiral of golden light. Dr. Venn's eyes widened. "They are communicating together." The spiral light condensed and formed into a huge burning platform. On it appeared symbols, words made of fire. Simple, clear, and terrifying. She read them aloud. "The devourer is not dead." The crew felt their hearts sink. Rowan stepped forward. "Explain," he said. The Guardian creature extended a flaming hand and shaped a story in the fire, an ancient tale seen for the first time by human eyes. Images appeared in the burning air. A galaxy full of fire creatures. A shadow rising in the darkness. The devourer eating entire suns. The fire creatures creating the ember rift to imprison it. Dr. Venn translated softly. "They trapped it many ages ago, but the prison is weakening. The devourer is trying to break free." The fire symbols changed. Another message appeared. "We cannot stop it alone." Rowan understood immediately. "They need help," he said. "They called humanity because we're the only ones who heard the whisper." The Guardian nodded, a soft, slow movement of its glowing head. Another message appeared. "Together we can end the devourer forever." Dr. Venn whispered. "They want an alliance." The crew remained silent. Humans and fire creatures, together? It sounded impossible. But the fire creatures had saved them. And the devourer was too powerful to face alone. Captain Rowan looked around at his crew, then back at the Guardian. "Humanity does not run from the impossible," he said. He stepped forward. "Tell us what you need." The Guardian's flames brightened. Other fire creatures gathered closer. A new symbol formed, one larger than all the rest. It said, "Prepare." Dr. Venn felt a shiver. "Prepare for what?" The Guardian turned, pointing toward the far end of the chamber. Suddenly all fire creatures dimmed. The temperature dropped. And far away, the darkness moved. A massive shadow crawled through the rift, spreading its cold like a disease. The devourer was coming. Dr. Mara slowly walked toward the burning mark on the metal floor. Her eyes narrowed behind her glasses. She did not touch it, but she could feel the heat rising from it, like something alive had passed through just moments ago. Captain Reyes stepped closer. Is it fresh? He asked quietly. Mara nodded. Very fresh. Whatever made this, it was here minutes ago. The team looked at each other. Their mission had suddenly changed. They were not the first ones on the station anymore. Something else had arrived before them, and it was not hiding its presence. A strange echo. Suddenly the corridor lights blinked again. Only this time the flickering came with a faint sound. Not footsteps. Not breathing. Something else. It was like a crackling whisper, the sound of flames talking softly to each other. Dr. Mara froze. Reyes lifted his rifle. The crackling grew louder, then faded, then grew again like it was trying to speak a language made of fire. Mara whispered, Captain, the star message. It said the creatures talk through flames. Reyes kept scanning the shadows. Let's hope they're friendly. But his voice did not sound hopeful. A corridor that was never meant for humans. They continued deeper into the abandoned station. The hallways twisted in strange shapes, as if the walls had melted and cooled again. Some parts looked smooth like glass, others were sharp like broken crystal. It's like fire shaped this place, Mara said. It is fire, Hannah replied. Look. On the walls, faint glowing lines pulsed like living embers. They slowly moved, like veins carrying heat instead of blood. The crew watched silently. Every glow felt like an eye-opening. A sudden warning. Then without any sound the temperature jumped. The air warmed. The floor trembled. The lights dimmed. And then, a bright orange flash burst at the far end of the corridor. Everyone raised their weapons. But it wasn't an attack. It was a shape. A figure made of pure fire, tall and thin, like a burning warrior carved from living flames. It stood there without moving. No footsteps. No breath. Just silent heat. Reyes whispered, Nobody shoot. Not unless it moves first. The fire creature slowly tilted its head as if curious. Its flames softened for a moment, flickering gently, almost like a greeting. But then, a second silhouette appeared. Then a third. Then dozens. All made of fire. All watching the humans. Hannah took a step back. Sir, this doesn't look peaceful. No, Mara said quietly. It looks like they were waiting for us. The flames speak. The first fire creature raised an arm. The flames around its hands spun in circles, forming patterns in the air. Symbols of bright heat appeared, like burning shapes floating above them. Mara stared in surprise. It's communication. It's trying to talk. Before she could say more, the symbol suddenly pulsed. Once, twice, then exploded into a shockwave of heat that raced across the corridor. Reyes shouted, Brace? But the shockwave did not burn them. It passed through them. And inside their minds a message echoed. You came without fear. But fear will come for you. Humanity's choice. Reyes looked at his team. Everyone heard it. Everyone felt it. Dr. Mara stepped forward slowly. She raised her hands, showing no threat. We came to understand, she said softly. We came because the stars warned us. The fire creature lowered its burning arm. The flames around it dimmed slightly. Then came another mental whisper. Your courage opens the path. But the path burns all who walk it. The corridor lights went out. Darkness swallowed everything, except the fire creatures. Their bodies glowed brighter, their flames rising like they were preparing for something huge. Reyes tightened his grip on his weapon. Team, he said quietly, stay alert. Whatever happens next, this is only the beginning. The final moment of part 1. The fire creatures suddenly moved aside, clearing the path forward. The ground beneath them cracked open, revealing a deep tunnel filled with glowing magma-like light. The message came again. Enter the flame. Or turn back forever. Reyes exhaled. Dr. Mara whispered, Captain, a humanity said it would not fear the fire. He nodded once. Then we walk into it. The team stepped forward. And the tunnel swallowed them in burning light. The great chamber of fire had gone silent. The Star Eater floated above the molten floor, its once furious flames now gentle and calm. For the first time the creature did not pull light into itself. It simply hovered, watching Reyes with the gold glow of a newborn sun. Dr. Mara couldn't look away. Captain, you changed it. Reyes shook his head. No. We showed it something new. Hannah stared at the creature's core. It listened to you. Something that eats stars, listened to a human. The white fire leader finally spoke, its voice slower, heavier than before. You have done what we believed was impossible. Another fire elder added. You faced the cosmic flame without fear, and the flame changed. Mara whispered, it means the creature can be influenced, maybe even taught. Reyes nodded. Which means humanity has a chance. The galaxy has a chance. But the chamber trembled again, this time not from danger but from a soft hum. The Star Eater was speaking. Not with words. Not with telepathy. With light. Golden pulses spread across the chamber, painting the dark crystal walls with shifting symbols. The Fire Elders watched in astonishment. The White Fire Leader whispered. It communicates. Hannah's eyes widened. Captain, it's talking to us. The Star Eater's message. The golden pulses became clearer. Shadows of exploding suns, broken planets, species running, hiding, dying. And then, a single symbol repeated again and again. Hunger. Dr. Mara stepped forward quietly. Captain, it's not evil. Reyes turned toward her. Explain. It doesn't choose to destroy, she said. It's starving. It needs star energy to live. It doesn't understand anything else. Hannah nodded slowly. It's like an animal in the dark. It only knows hunger and survival. Reyes watched the swirling light, thoughtful and calm. What if, he said slowly, we show it another way to live? The chamber brightened. The Star Eater's flames flickered with interest. The White Fire Leader spoke. This is why we called you. The ancient prophecy said, only those who mastered fire without fear can teach the fire that fears nothing. Mara smiled gently. Then humanity is exactly who you need. A trial of heat. But suddenly the ground shook with a violent impact. A huge flaming gate on the far wall burst open, sending rivers of lava spilling across the floor. Fire creatures shouted in alarm. The Blue Fire Elder turned sharply. The bindings are breaking. Mara gasped. Bindings? You were holding something else. The White Fire Leader answered. The Star Eater is not the only ancient fire we guard. A second roar, deeper, darker, echoed through the hall. Reyes stepped forward. Another creature? No, the Elder said gravely. A corrupted one. Hannah swallowed. Corrupted how? The flames around the Elder flickered in fear. It does not eat stars, it eats life. At that moment, something massive emerged through the broken gate. The Devourer of Living Worlds. It was shaped like the Star Eater, but darker. Its light was not gold or white, it was a sickening black-red glow like dying embers. Instead of silent majesty, it dragged itself forward with violent jerks, its flames sputtering like a broken heartbeat. The White Fire Leader shouted. The Devourer. The one who consumes planets. The team had no time to react. The corrupted being roared, and its wave of burning heat slammed across the room like a pressure storm. Fire creatures staggered. Mara shielded her face. Hannah hit the ground. Reyes grabbed her arm, pulling her back up. Stay with me. The Star Eater flared brightly in response, its gold light expanding to block the corrupted flames. The Devourer hissed, a horrible crackling sound. Mara yelled, Captain. It's going for the Star Eater. Reyes clenched his jaw. It wants to consume it, absorb its power. The two cosmic beings collided, light crashing against corrupted fire. The chamber shook violently. Hannah screamed over the roar, Captain. If it takes the Star Eater, it'll become unstoppable. The Fire Elders joined the battle, shooting waves of pure flame at the Devourer, but each attack only slowed it a little. Reyes made a decision. Mara. Hannah. With me now. Humanity interferes with cosmic war. They ran toward the center of the chamber, heat blasting against their suits. Hannah shouted, Captain, what's the plan? Reyes pointed at the Star Eater, which was struggling under the Devourer's weight. We showed it courage. Now we show it choice. Mara understood instantly. We help it fight. The White Fire Elder saw them move and shouted. Humans, stay back. This battle is not for your kind. Reyes ignored him. Humanity doesn't wait for permission. Hannah activated her stabilizers again. Mara pulled out her pulse amplifier. Reyes raised his arm toward the Star Eater and shouted. Look at us. We are not running. The Star Eater's golden light wavered, then sharpened. It saw them. It understood. And it unleashed a new kind of fire. Not hunger. Not destruction. Hope. A column of golden plasma shot upward, pushing the Devourer back. Reyes braced himself as the shockwave hit. Hannah shouted, Captain. It's listening again. Mara smiled through the heat. It trusts you. The Devourer shrieked, its body twisting violently. The Fire Elders strengthened the golden light with their own flames. Light and darkness collided again. This time more evenly. The final push. Reyes shouted, Hannah. Amplify the stabilizers. Direct all power to the golden flame. On it. Mara yelled, Reyes. It's weakening. One more push. The chamber blazed bright enough to blind a sun. And then, with a final scream, the devourer cracked apart. A massive shockwave burst across the hall. Dark embers scattered like dying stars. The corrupted ancient was gone. Silence returned. Slowly the Star Eater floated down, glowing warm and calm. It lowered itself until it hovered directly in front of Captain Reyes. The White Fire Leader spoke softly. It bows to you. Mara felt tears form in her eyes. Hannah whispered, Captain, you just made a star bow. Reyes exhaled slowly. No, a humanity did. The Star Eater flashed once, bright and gentle, sending a wave of thanks across their minds. And in that moment the Fire Elders knew. Humanity was not just walking into the flames. They were teaching the flames how to walk with them.